All right, here's our bid notes. So we're gonna run through this. The first thing I'm gonna do is take my walls, and I said I was gonna keep my garage separate from my house. So over here, let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Yeah, so on my garage wall right here, 35 feet, 9 inches would be 369, so that's 35.75 plus 26.75 plus so this will be these outer walls here, all the way around. And I'm gonna start me another page. So I've got garage walls, 101.57, okay? Now on the house walls, right here, let's start back here. So we've got 40 foot. Well, actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's start with this partition wall. 26.75. That's going to be this partition wall here. Plus 40 foot. Plus 62 foot. Plus 43 foot, 3 inches. Plus 10 foot, 7 inches. Plus 4 foot 9. Plus 25 foot. Plus 1 foot 4. 213.75. House walls. 213.75. Okay. Next, we've got G1. Let's solve for this. So we need to find the area of the gable. And we also need to find C. So to find the area is pretty easy. 13.5 times 14. 189. So that's going to give us, for the entire gable, 189. And that's going to be square feet. So this is not square feet yet. This is just linear feet. Okay. So let's do G1, 189 square feet. Okay. And then C, to get that, 13.5 times 13.5, 182.25, 14. Plus 182.25 equals. Now we need to get the square root of that. So let's see how we oh shit, we gotta actually enter it in. Square root of 378.25. 19.44. So this one, C equals 19.44. So we're just going to hold on to that. We're not going to touch it. G2, down here, let's find that area. 12 times 6.5 equals 78. Square feet. Okay. And then we've got 6.5 times 6.5 equals 42.25 plus 12 times 12, which is 144, equals 186.25. Square root of 186.25 equals 13.65, we're gonna say. And we have G2 written down correct. Okay. So now G3. Right here. We're gonna do 20 times 15.33 equals 306. It's actually 0.6 square feet. Okay. So to find this one, 20 times 20 is going to be 400, so 15.33 times 15.33 equals 235 whatever plus 400 equals 635. So I don't know how to do. Square root of 635 equals 25.2. And then I don't remember, did we find the area of this one? Yeah, we did. Okay. Okay, so now we've got our walls, which we do need to multiply by our wall height, which is 9. So it's going to be this times 9 plus this times 9. So let's go ahead and do that. That way we've got square footage numbers. 101.57 times 9 equals 914.13. And then here we've got 213.75 times 9 equals 1923.75. And that is in square feet. Okay, now we need to subtract our windows and doors from these numbers before these are final. So let's figure out on our garage, we have one 8x8, so that's going to be 64 square foot. What's 8 times 9? 72. We're going to have 2 of those. So we're going to have 144. And then we're going to have 2 306s. 6, 12, 18. 18 times 2 is going to be 36. So right here for our doors and windows in our garage, 36 plus 144 plus 64 equals 244 square feet. Minus 244 square feet equals. So we got 914.13 minus 244 equals 670. Add 7.13 square feet. And that's our final number for our garage walls. And then, okay, we got a few more to do over here for this one. 306s, there's 10 of those. 3 times 6 is 18 times 10 equals 180. 180, okay. 305s, so we got 5 of those, so 15 times 5. It's going to be 75. A 4065, so this is our 6. Anyway, 4 times 5.5 equals 22. There's only one of those. 5 times 7 35, there's 2 of those. 3068 would be like 19. There's 2 of those, times 2, 38. 304, that's 12 times 3, so that'll be 36. 3078. So it'll be 3 times 7.66 equals times 2 equals 45.96. Okay, plus 36 plus 38 plus 70 plus 22 plus 75 plus 180. 466.96. So that's gonna be my doors and windows on the house. 466.96 equals 1923 point. 1456.79 square feet. Okay, and I'm gonna call this my final number, but it's really not my final number because we need to add in the walls on the bonus room right here. And then may or may not add in the little chimney box to that number. So this is basically a final number, but not exactly, but it's close. Okay, so from now, we've got our walls, we've got our gables. Let's go ahead and figure this into there. So it's a 4-foot wall that runs all the way down here. And I'm gonna label that separate, just that way it's easy to track. Now I've got a little 4-foot wall that runs all the way down this side and a little 4-foot wall that runs all the way down this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and multiply this by 2. Multiply that by 4. 324. Now I've got an 8-foot that wraps around right here where that bathroom is. Okay, on that corner, that little bathroom, there's a little 4-foot wall that continues on 8 foot 10 inches of it. $359 in total. Okay. Now, okay, let's go ahead and do our little chimney. So we got 2'3", 2 feet, 2.25 plus 2 feet, because we got one on this side and one on this side. And then the whole thing is 6 foot wide. Equals times 14 foot tall, 147 square feet. Okay, so let's do roof deck 1. So this is gonna be from here. So our main roof deck is going to be this one, and that's the one that runs all the way across through here, okay? G1, so G3 is our main roof deck. G2 is going to be, G1 is going to be our other roof deck. Now it's not going to end, well, yeah, it should end about right here. No, it's going to be more than that, because we know that from the top, where this 40-foot run is, that roof pitch was the same all the way through that 40 foot. So this is 35'9". So it'll actually be like a little bit past here where we're figuring this roof pitch on. So I'm gonna do it the whole distance of here, 40'6", multiplied by this pitch. So this is the surface area, the square footage, the length from the peak of the roof down to the eave of the wall. So we've got 1944 times 40 foot 6 inches equals. That's gonna give me 1/2 of the roof, but I need to get this half and this half. So we'll multiply this by 2. 1574.64. I don't even know if I had that in there. What I did was I did 19.44 and I multiplied it by my length, which is gonna be 40'6". Now, because of this offset, it's actually gonna be a little bit shorter on a portion of it. I'm gonna go ahead and overbid this job, and I'm not gonna figure out what money we could save them right here. So if I did want to figure this out, I would subtract 2 foot off of here, or 1 foot 80 inch off of here. And then I would have to figure out how much of this is going to be different because it's 16 foot over, which is not the center here. Anyway, it gets into being too much work for me to do on this one. If you wanted to figure it out, you could. If this was a bigger project, maybe I would try to save some money where I could, so I could know how competitive I can be. On this one, I'm just gonna figure it the whole 40 feet. So there's my number, and that's off of this one. So I'm gonna call it RD1. That's gonna be roof deck 1, and that's gonna correlate with this. So we have 1,574.64 square feet. Okay, and then the only other one we're gonna have is gonna be R3, because this is based off of G3. So I'm gonna call it RD3, roof deck 3. So we got 25.2, and we're gonna do the same thing we just did. Okay, so we've got 25.2 times the total length, which is 62 foot 2 inches. Now that gives me this half, but I'm also looking for this half. So we'll multiply this by 2. 31, 33. I'm gonna label this as RD3, 3,133.4 square feet. And even though we've got one labeled G2 here, that's just this gable, which is for prettiness. And it doesn't really change any of the roof deck. This may change it a little bit here. We've got an extra 3 feet that this is gonna add on to in the front. But I'm not really concerned with it, so I'm not gonna figure anything different from that, because we've pretty much got it captured all the way through here. So we could actually come in here and probably take a little bit off for this porch. Yeah, that's actually how that works. Well, it is 3 foot longer here, but you can see this one is where we measured from here. So it's a little bit off. So we could actually subtract a little bit for that porch, but we also have the added work of going in here all along this porch, and then over here on both sides of this gable, we've got spaces where we're gonna have to go in there, put a backing, and then spray foam to it. So because of that, I'm not even gonna subtract this. If this was a bigger porch, then yeah, I'd probably go ahead and deduct that out. But on this one, I'm not even gonna deduct it out. So I guess I'm not being very precise on this, but you know, we've got some added work on there, so I'm gonna leave this in there just that way. It'll kind of help make up for that. And then I still may add a little bit more in. Okay, so once we've got all that, we also have the subfloor for this area and the bonus room. So we'll go ahead and get that added in. And I would say also on that one, probably just keep it separate, because They may want it here for sound, but they may not want it here because it's the garage. Now, I would probably do the whole thing if it were me, but I'm also the guy selling the stuff, so. It just makes sense to do it here because this bonus room is gonna be conditioned and the garage is not gonna be conditioned. So it makes sense that you would wanna insulate this subfloor just to hold in your heat, okay? Here, inside the house, the only reason you would want to insulate that is strictly for noise. But for here, it would be for performance. So I would definitely say yes, subfloor here. This one, questionable, but because I think this one is probably, I mean, I don't know. You could probably just sell it all. But I would still keep it separate, just in case. So we've got 16 by 40 right here. 16 by 40. 640. Hey. So, and I'm gonna call this subfloor 1 SF1. I'm gonna call this SF2. So for subfloor 1, we have 640 square feet. And then here, we've got 28 by 26. 728 square feet for subfloor 2. And there it is. There's all my numbers. So I'm going to, let's see, grab some color. Okay, so from a thickness perspective, the yellow is going to be 3.5 inches. So your gables are all going to get 3.5 inches. That's R14, R14. This wall right here is going to be R14. This will be R14. So all this is 3.5 inches. Subfloors, these are going to be R14, R14. And then your roof decks, I'm going to do that at 5.5 inches. So that'll be R22 here whenever I bid it. And then also these will be 3.5 inches, R14, R14. Okay, so what I can do now that I know which ones are gonna be what thickness, I can add those up. Now, like I say, we're gonna keep our garage separate from the rest of our house. But, so in this scenario, you know, all the yellow is going to be 3.5. It's gonna be 3.5. The gables, all those gables are gonna be 3.5. We got a gable there. And then your roof deck on top of all this is just gonna be 5.5 everywhere. And then I didn't even put our little, got this in here. And then the whole subfloor, if we do insulate the subfloor, the whole subfloor will get it. So that's just kind of visually what that's gonna look like. Okay, so I'm gonna do some math off screen just for the sake of time. My bad. Oh, what's going on? Mouse there. There we go. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm gonna do the math off screen. The first thing I'm gonna do is add G1, G2, G3. I'm gonna add the 4-foot wall and the chimney all to my house walls. So I'm gonna take 1456.79 and I'm gonna add that to 189 of G1 plus G2 is gonna be 78 plus Now G3, we've got two G3s, okay? We got a G3 right here. We got a G3 right here on both ends. So this number is for only one G3. So I need to have two of these. So I'm gonna add 612, well actually 13.2 plus. So I just doubled this number is what I did because we have two of those. Plus 359 plus 147 plus, well, that's it. Okay, so for our exterior walls, on the house, 2,842.99 square feet, okay? Now on the roof deck for the house, roof deck. This will be easy. We're just gonna add these two numbers together. We've got 1574.64 plus 3133.4 equals 4,708.04 square feet. Okay. Now this is a square foot number. This is a square foot number. These are two-dimensional numbers. We have to keep them separate up to this point because this is where we're gonna add our multiplier on there, okay? So we're gonna multiply this by 3.5 because we're gonna do 3.5 inches of open cell in it. And then we're gonna multiply this one by 5.5 because we're gonna do 5.5 inches of open cell. Oh, that was a bad C. That was almost a double O. Open cell, okay? So I kind of wrote this too close together, so I'm just gonna kind of write this one down here. So we've got 2842.99 times 3.5 equals 9,950.5 square board feet. Square board feet is three-dimensional, okay? And now we're gonna multiply this square footage by 5.5. So we've got 4,708.04 times 5.5 equals 25,894.22 square board feet. That is a big ass roof, okay? So already, just by looking at this, I can tell you, this right here is about 2/3 of a set of foam, and this right here is like a set and a half or set and 2/3. So it's a lot of foam. This is a set and 2/3. So this is a lot of foam. So now that we have that all in the same unit, we're not going to multiply it anymore. We're going to go ahead and add those together. 9950. So total on the house, 35,844.72 square board feet. That is our total square board footage for the house. And that includes all of your gables, that includes your 4-foot wall, that includes your little chimney cabinet, all of it, okay? So that's a pretty good little distance or size there. Most of it's gonna be the roof deck. Okay, now for our garage, I'm gonna take this number, 670.13, plus I'm gonna add on to it I could add this subfloor one to that. It kind of needs it. But I think I'm gonna keep that separate whenever I do my quote. So really I'm just gonna do 670.13 times 3.5 23.45. So on the garage, we're gonna have 2345.5 square board feet. And then of course we've got subfloors 1 and 2. I would recommend that we do subfloor 1, subfloor 2. Yes and no. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, I'm gonna kind of go with what I've got here, and then I can submit this to him and determine what he wants to do as far as these subfloors. I can go in and ask, hey, on the subfloor, are you wanting to do that? Hey, on this wall, are you wanting to do this or that? And if not, I can subtract that out. But anyway, there's our numbers. Now we got square board foot numbers. All we have to do now is pair this with how much we're selling spray foam per square board foot, and that will give us our overall price on the building. But now we know the surface area of the entire building, and we know how much we got to bring. So if we wanted to do this whole job, we would need at minimum 2.5 sets, 2.54 sets. Okay, now we add this in there, then you know, it'll be a little bit more than that, but you get about 3 sets and you can go do this job. This is a pretty decent sized job, pretty big house, big roof line anyway. So that's how I go through these notes. That's how I figure out everything. I try to keep everything labeled really well. You know, we saw that they still had the ducting going on, so we may go bid this, and then a month down the road, 2 months down the road, they're like, hey, by the way, you know, we said we wanted to do subfloor number 1. We've actually decided not to do that. So then I need to make sure that I've got this labeled so that it's easy for me to come in here and figure out what it is, because otherwise I'm gonna have to sit through here and rebid this entire house just to remove one subfloor. So that's why I like to come in here and kind of piece it all together like this. And in that way, it's really easy to see what I have and where I have it. And then if I need to make changes, it's easy to make those changes. Anyway, okay, that's it. All right, so this is a calculator that I built, and I've been working on a projector, which, which works pretty good. And the projector basically just kind of projects what my overall cost is going to be. So here it is. So if we were going to bid just a rectangular box, I can come in here, I can throw in my width, I can throw in my length, my eave height, what's my peak height. It's going to give me walls, gables, roof deck. I can come down here, add in my windows and doors. It's going to make all my deductions, and then literally 3 ways at once I can bid: closed sale, open sale, or hybrid. Okay, so what I also found out is if I come in here and do like a -1 on my windows, it'll actually add all this in. So now I can see my total square board footage is going to be 35,844. So that's the same number that we've got down here. So my total price at this number is going to be $11,000. Now this, you can't refer to this right here because, you know, we did this the wrong way. Some of this is walls and some of it is roof deck, obviously, but I'm kind of using this incorrectly. But just to show you my projector. So here's my projector. I can come in here, I can put my pricing for what I'm purchasing for, price per gallon, what's my plastic. Okay, this is my crew, here's my lead man, my helpers, what are they getting paid? Sprayer, what are they getting paid? How many shifts are we working and how many hours are we working per shift? 8-hour shifts, total of 32 man hours, total cost of labor per shift. Okay, so right here is the open sale. If I bid this, if I do this job, it's saying total of 2.39 sets to get this number, and so it's saying we're going to spend initially $7,500. Our labor cost should be about yay much, $2,200. Our total cost of the project should be $6,400. Our sales price is currently at $11,000. So we should profit $4,700. And then also we should have about $2,800 left in the barrel. Now that $2,800, so let's say there's, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches left. So there should be a 0.6 of a barrel left, okay? 0.6 of a set of open cell. When we sell that, if we sell it for the same price we sold this, that's where that money's coming in from, okay? So assuming we don't sell it and assuming we don't sell it for the same amount, obviously we're not gonna be able to recoup this money. So now we can see what's our total cost of our sprayer, how many shifts. This is estimating 2.5 days. I would guess on this house probably, I would give 3 days, just because the prep's gonna take a little bit of time, the cleanup's gonna take a little bit of time. Really the most of the foam is going on the roof, so I feel like you could knock it out pretty quick. There's really not a whole lot of extra that we've gotta do. Everything's pretty accessible. So I would say probably 3 days would be pretty aggressive, but you know, you could block off 4 days for it. And that's with one sprayer. If you put 2 rigs on it, then yeah, you could probably get through it in 3 days. So I would say about 3 days for this project. So anyway, if we wanted to get a little more competitive and say, hey, you know, we think that this is too much money to be making on this project, we should probably go for a little lower number, that's fine. So this is what I do for me. So I'm gonna take my calculator. I wanna make a minimum of $1,200 per set. So I'm gonna take 4701.4 and I'm gonna divide that, that's our total profit, divided by 2.4 sets. So here it shows I'm making $1,958 per set. Now, that's assuming no overspray. That's assuming, you know, we don't have to rebuild any guns. That's assuming that we have a perfect job. That's how much we're gonna make. So this being an open cell job, we've got extra cleanup, we've got extra, you know, we need to have a little room for overspray. So even though it says we only need 3 sets to do this job, I would probably order 4, and you know, hey, hopefully 2.5 sets is all we need. But just in case, you know, we overspray, it's cold outside, we're having trouble heating it up because it is winter, you know, we've got some extra foam to set back. So it's a little bit of a risk to do it, but I mean, these are good numbers. I like this. Healthy numbers right there. So I like that. We could give them a little bit of a break. Let's just say we went down to 0.27, which I think is literally the lowest we could sell it for. So you can see there, we've shaved off about $1,500 off the total amount of profit. So we've shaved $1,500 off of there. And at this point, let's see, we got 3, 2, 6, 7 divided by 2.4. So here we're making $1,361. So we could still go in at this number of 96.78. We could still go in with that number. We could be competitive and we could get the job done. But now we're running the risk of we've literally got $160 per set. So literally $300 to cover any overspray, to cover any extra time that we have to spend on this project to make it right. We've also got to buy foam board to block in above and around the porch. So for me, that's just cutting it too close. You know, I don't want to dip into my profits just because we had some problems. So I like this number a lot better. That gives us $1,500 just in case something goes wrong, if we've got a high overspray percentage, and then I think we can get this job done for that for sure. So now that I have all that, I'll go in here to my job list and I'll add it on. Now I just got to put the quote together and send it to him.